Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, since sacking the government and suspending parliament last month, Tunisia's president still not set out a roadmap for a return to democracy. But Kais Said's sacked more governors as part of a shake-up that's proved popular amongst many frustrated Tunisians. Also, a year after a devastating oil spill in Mauritius, the islands are still slow to recover from their worst ever environmental disaster. Its impact continues to weigh heavily on marine life and communities. And a Borma in Djibouti is home to one of the most important archaeological sites in the Horn of Africa. Rock engravings depicting locally extinct animals date back to Neolithic times. But first, Tunisia's president rejected calls for talks over the crisis that followed his sacking of the prime minister and suspension of parliament at the end of last month. Kais Said still hasn't announced his long-term plans or announced a new government. He's pushed ahead, though, with a range of exceptional measures and on Friday sacked several more regional governors. Fadil Ali Riza tells us more.
Well, we have seen President Kais Saied continuing to rule by executive decree. He has appointed a new Minister of Health, an interim Minister of Health. It is an army doctor. The president had tried to give the military a bigger role in the COVID-19 response, perhaps hoping that the military might be more effective in its response. At the same time, we've seen the president dismiss several governors. He's dismissed at least 4 governors in the last couple of days. There are 24 governorates. These are appointed from the central government. They have quite a lot of power. We have seen in the past, when you've seen new governments, that they dismiss old governors and replace them with new ones. However, they have not yet replaced the old governors with new governors. This may be that the president feels he doesn't have necessarily the legal power to do it, or perhaps he's waiting for a new government, or perhaps we have also seen the president argue that he would like to see more direct democracy from local levels, have more local elections at the smaller municipal and even governor levels. So perhaps the president is going in that direction.
Fadil Ali Riza there for us. Well, despite international calls for Said to set out a roadmap for a return to democracy, his actions have proved popular amongst many Tunisians frustrated by years of political dysfunction and economic stagnation. He's met with several unions and businesses and announced measures that he says are aimed at tackling the inequality and hardship faced by many.
Since Thursday, there have been huge discounts at the supermarket in Tunis. Price tags are marked with the word civic engagement, responding to a recent call by President Said to lower prices.
Pour le beurre, ça va être de 15%. Pour le yaourt, ça va être entre 5 et 8%, soit une moyenne qui dépasse les 10% sur les produits essentiels.
The price cuts are happening at supermarkets across the country. The initiative is a bid to help boost the economy.
Moi, ce que j'espère, c'est que cet élan va générer une prise de conscience qui va pas uniquement sur la consommation, mais aussi sur la production.
After years of high inflation, customers are happy with the lower supermarket price, but some warn that other vendors need to follow suit.
باش ترخص في لي غران سيرفاس يعني انت ديستيني لناس معينه مش للزويوه، الزويوه ولا ياخذوا من العطار من الخضار. انا مع انه يحدوا لي بري، فهمتني؟
The president also plans on scaling up development in neglected regions. Frustrations are running high in poorer areas. In Hajj al-Hayoun, in the center of Tunisia, locals have been demonstrating over the poor quality of drinking water.
أغلب الأوقات يهبط يعني أحمر يهبط برشا ألوان. هذه الصورة من الصور متاع التهميش.
New measures also aim to tackle fraud. Corrupt businessmen have been offered amnesty from prosecution if they return stolen public funds by investing regionally. The hope is that the drive will help revive Hajj al-Hayoun's industrial zone.
حجب العيون راهي بلاصة باهية، مدينة فلاحية، مدينة تنجم تكون صناعية والدليل إنه معمل الصوف وقت كان يخدم كان ناجح.
For now, business leaders have praised the initiative, but they're still cautiously waiting for them to be implemented.
Mais aujourd'hui, il est essentiel que le président de la République donne une feuille de route pour qu'on puisse quand même savoir ce qui va se passer et sur le plan politique et sur le plan économique.
President Kais Saied claims his new powers are constitutional, despite critics calling it a coup.
Look now at some news in brief. In South Africa, former President Jacob Zuma was taken from prison to hospital for medical observation on Friday. Officials haven't gone into details about the 79-year-old's health, but his foundation says that he's headed in for an annual checkup. Zuma's serving a 15-month jail sentence for contempt of court and is due back in court next week for a separate corruption trial. Staying with South Africa, as part of a major cabinet reshuffle, the country's security ministry has been scrapped and placed under the responsibility of the spy agency. It comes after 354 people were killed in unrest last month following the jailing of former President Jacob Zuma. The reshuffle also saw National Assembly Speaker Thandi Modise named as new defence minister and the replacement of Health Minister Zweli Mkhize. He's been handling the country's coronavirus response, but reportedly asked to step down after being caught up in a corruption scandal over communications funding for the pandemic. On Friday, the leader of Tanzania's main opposition party was seen in public for the first time since his arrest on July 21st. Freeman Mbowe appeared in court in Dar es Salaam to face terrorism charges, which his supporters say are politically motivated. Rights groups have expressed concern about the state of democracy in the country under new President Samia Suluhu Hassan. Mbowe's case was adjourned until August 13th, as prosecutors want it handled by a higher court. The case against 21 LGBTQ activists has been dismissed by a court in Ghana after judges ruled that there was not enough evidence against them. They've been accused of gathering unlawfully at a hotel in the southeastern city of Ho in May. Now, promoting gay rights is not illegal in the country, but LGBTQ people face widespread abuse and discrimination, and gay sex is punishable with up to 3 years in prison. Now, a year after a devastating oil spill in Mauritius, the islands still face uncertainty, and affected communities are growing increasingly frustrated at the lack of major action to protect the island's waters from similar incidents. Today, the impact of the disaster continues to weigh heavily on the environment and livelihoods. Our correspondents tell us more.
The Île aux Regrets, one of the most beautiful nature reserves on Mauritius, narrowly escaped disaster last year after a Japanese tanker ran aground, spilling more than 4,000 tons of fuel, endangering 30 years of wildlife protection.
Au moment où on a évacué l'île, franchement j'ai eu peur. On voyait vraiment qu'il y avait beaucoup d'huile qui sautait. Nos managers sont remontés sur l'île pour évacuer quelques oiseaux, quelques reptiles et quelques animaux sur l'île. On a réalisé qu'avec toute l'huile qu'il y avait un risque de feu sur l'île.
Despite the authorities' best efforts to protect the nature reserve, 20 miles of beach were damaged. The impact is still felt by residents living along the coastline. It took 5 months to clean up the damage and for the sea to return to the pristine state the island had before. Fishing and swimming are once again permitted, but marine life is taking longer to recover.
Depuis qu'on a eu le problème de Wakasha, ça a cessé de grandir parce que, comme vous voyez là, il y a des petits manguas, ils sont morts. Et je viens de retirer ça le matin.
Residents in coastal areas also fear for their health. The authorities have launched 2 studies into the long and medium-term and socio-economic effects of the spillage. Meanwhile, compensation claims have been launched against the Japanese ship owner. Mitsui has offered only 8 million euros for the cleanup. The sinking of the Wakashio tanker revealed existing flaws in Mauritius's crisis response to oil spills, but the country claims to have learned its lessons and has announced new environmental protection measures.
Il faut absolument qu'on puisse protéger la côte mauricienne et cette permission de passage doit se faire d'une façon pour que cela n'affecte pas les eaux territoriales. Les bateaux qui font plus de 150 tonnes seront interdits.
The island nation plans on reviewing its maritime laws and its 8 surveillance radars will be upgraded. At a regional level, it's been announced that 3 oil spill response centres will be created in Mauritius, the Seychelles and Madagascar, serving around 30,000 ships that navigate there every year.
Aboma in northern Djibouti is one of the most important prehistoric art sites in the Horn of Africa. Rock engravings there, estimated to be 7,000 years old, offer a spectacular glimpse into the lives of ancient man, with many depicting animals long extinct to the region.
Hidden in the Djibouti desert, hundreds of prehistoric carvings and drawings are engraved in the black stone. Some are more than 7,000 years old, and depict animals like ostriches and giraffes, which have long gone extinct, in a region that once abounded with water and lush vegetation.
Aujourd'hui, c'est la cimetière pour ça, on peut dire, parce qu'on en a plus. Donc, à l'époque, ils vivaient ici, ce genre d'animaux.
In total, around 900 panels stretch over an area more than 3 kilometers long. A historical treasure trove which was only discovered by Western archaeologists in 2005. The man who led them there, Ibrahim Dabali Lubak, is the area's custodian, a title passed down through the generations. Known as the cradle of humankind, the Horn of Africa contains a wealth of such archaeological sites, a majority of which have yet to be uncovered.
Amazing. Well, that's it for Eye on Africa. Thanks for joining us, and do so again if you can. Take care.